Welcome, everyone. This is Poundleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers and LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi!
Sanswinda,
Hello.
Guerendis,
Hello, everyone.
Krister,
Hello.
and Arendis.
Hey, everyone.
Hello, and welcome back, everyone, for this, our 500th episode, or is that, the 500 or something? The big 500? Maybe not. Well, we do have some game news this week, so let's have a look at that. And we had an update 34.3, which was released on March 8th. And of this, they had the start of the Spring Festival. And on top of that, for updates in there, the Bjorning trait Desperate Shouts has been adjusted as follows. Tier 1 reduces the cost to execute the next wrath-consuming skill by 50%. Tier 2 reduces the cost to execute the next wrath skill by 100%. This does not include execute. This trait also no longer only affects your healing skill. Any skill that would normally consume wrath now consumes Desperate Shout. And as for items, correct an issue with the legendary item reward track that was causing time remaining to not display. And any level 140 characters with an Ill Omens Essence bounty from the Deed Skirmish Assault 3 Ill Omens can now use the item to receive a level 140 Delver's Lively Essence box. That means, yes, now you can finally open those things.
Did you test to see if it was really working?
Well, I did not run all those skirmishes at Tier 3. I don't do Tier 3 skirmishes normally.
Okay, fair.
I mean, that is unless I want to spend time with the "you have been defeated" debuff on me all the time.
That makes sense.
Corrected the legendary coffer of the Ukresh portrait frame's description to reflect that it also gives ancient script and legendary enhancement runes. And new items have been added ahead of the start of the Spring Festival, and that began on 10 a.m. on March 9th. As for quests and adventure areas, the featured instance rotation has been updated to include the Great Barrow, Thadir, Dungeons of Nerband, Library at Thom Mirdine, Work Pens of Dol Guldur, Ashgad Mazal, the Chamber of Shadows, and Heligrod Giant Wing. And the feature instance Cap quest no longer requires Tier 2 completion of the instance. Thank you! And there's also a known issue in the Spring Festival wrapper quest. The Splendor of Spring is missing its Tracery token legendary reward. This will be fixed on the next game update, which is currently scheduled for March 21st. Anyone completing the Splendor of Spring after this update will receive the additional reward. Now, there is still the question of what update the March 21st update is going to be. I think they are trying to see if they could get it to be update 35, but if it's not, then it may instead be 34.3.1 if update 35 gets pushed a little bit. So those are the release notes. Anyone have anything they wish to say about them? Yeah. Not much to talk about that.
No, I'm waiting for the captain changes to hit. So that's my
You're waiting for update 35. So you're hoping they come on March 31st, or do you hope they...
Well, I don't know if hope is the right word, because once they come, I lose one of my most favorite raid abilities on red and yellow line. But like I said before, I completely understand the logic of the change, so I'm caught between a rock and a hard place about how I feel about it, because it is it makes sense, but I'm just sad that I have to lose the upgraded res. So there we go. That I'm waiting for the next set of release notes, I think. So
Okay. Then let's look into the Spring Festival guide there. They have their Celebrate Spring in the Lord of the Rings Online, where they have a guide to the Spring Festival in there, which is basically talking about the various items that are there. If you want to go into in-depth, all about rewards and all that stuff, you'll probably have to go to Fibro Jedi's list or something like that, which gives pictures of all of the rewards that are out there. But this gives a highlight of all the various activities that you could participate in the Spring Festival.
The trees are kind of in the way, but they always blur out the map for the maze, but that's a pretty good picture of it.
Yeah, that is a pretty good picture of the maze in there, so you could try to figure out how to get through there by looking at it like this.
Somewhat. It leaves off part of it.
Yeah, it leaves off part of it. And that is with the Spring Festival. And so let's head into that other set of release notes. Borer Update 35 Beta 3. Now, they are considering maybe that there might be a Beta 4 next week. They haven't decided yet. It all depends on, A, is it going to be ready, and B, I guess, number of changes that they made and the like. So we'll have to see about that. But let's have a look at what changed this week. And let's see. Not much actually has changed this particular week. For example, on the Warden, they noted that there's a known issue that Hampering Javelin was missing from the previous build and now has returned. Please visit Class Trainer if you do not have the skill available. So it's good that Hampering Javelin is back, right? For Delving variants will rotate daily. Tuesday 6, Wednesday 1, Thursday 2, Friday 4. That's 6, 1, 2, 4. Okay, that was
the combo to my locker in high school.
Yeah, I would expect it to go 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was expecting it to go something like that. Maybe rotation 3 wasn't ready for that particular borer build. And with the Delvings also, they said that there was an issue with Tier 1 version of the Delvings that did not display the objective correctly, and that has been addressed. And the mission, A Day at the Farm, was pretty difficult to complete in its second stage. The total number of Kraban to kill has been reduced to 8. Oh, and the rest of them were little things that they changed relative to the other preview. There were just changes from what they did in previous previews. So so there weren't really all that many major changes in this update. So it looks like they are starting to get satisfied with what's going on update 35. Now, Krister, you said you want to say something about the captain?
Well, it's just that I'm looking forward to trying the changes out because I can't really. I mean, there was a time where me and one of the other captains in our kin were really excited because we could main heal raids, and we did. I think what's the one where you're in that armory with the 3 stations and you have to defend this one to each one to defend them. Or the forge. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but we main healed that one. So it was really cool because nobody's expecting a captain to main heal it. So we were quite proud of ourselves. And then there's enough changes that made that completely ineffective. And I think I might have told you guys my favorite part of that, but I'll go ahead and say it again. It was, so we were talking to somebody who was sick. Oh yeah, this captain was amazing. This amazing healer. He had a bunch of tactical mastery slotted, and it's like, oh, cool. Okay, so I literally slotted tactical mastery in every slot in my armor, and I walk out Forge Master in Bree, and the person standing right next to me sends me a tell. He goes, "That's the worst armor I've ever seen." I was like, no, wait a second. I just did this. It's an experiment. It's not my real armor. But so I'm really looking forward to seeing how viable the Blue Line Captain is now, because it feels like they're really trying to make an effort to make that relevant again. And really, you want to be honest, the Blue Line was always the least line. You just didn't use it. You liked things out of it. I mean, you liked trading it into it for certain things, but you never were going to be a Blue Line Captain in any raid type situation. So I'm really intrigued and interested in seeing if that's changed. So fingers crossed.
We'll have to find out. We got about 10 more days before we find out, assuming that the update does come on the 21st.
Oh, we're going to find out. All right. You guys are doing Hidden Horde with me. T3.
T3?
Oh, we are we? When is this, Christy?
Probably just in my mind.
Year.
I'm sure that Ploy would be all nice, set and ready to do Hidden Horde right on the release, right?
I'm hoping so. Yeah, we haven't been able to get enough people for a raid in a long time, but we do still have a group of people that are doing stuff every raid night. So we just haven't been raiding, but maybe that'll attract enough people back that we'll get a raid together, because that would be a lot of fun.
It doesn't help that your raids collide with the same time that they have Friday night fights over at Mythgard.
Yeah, but it works out for Finn quite well, because he's spoiled for choice. He can either go run Friday nights with you guys or come with us, So.
All right. Anyone else have anything that they're looking forward to relating to Update 35?
I looked at the list and it kind of made my head spin, so...
It made your head spin. Okay. Well, I think for you, the big question is, what do the power changes do to a champion, I guess?
Probably.
I think that's what's interesting to think about anyways. If power really becomes a factor again, our Lore Master is going to be valued as the batteries again.
Yes. Yeah. Then I'll have to start wearing copper.
Well, and we were joking about it last night. Somebody was like, "I've been collecting power potions this whole time. I guess if anything, I'm ready."
Lore Master's little Faraday cages? What?
Oh yeah, I remember those days where you were like, "Why am I not doing anything?" And you look down at your power bar, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's why." That's a captain's essence. If our power goes out, we turn from mighty knights into Jerry from Tom and Jerry's.
Oh no. Do you make the same sounds?
Pretty much. Luckily, I'm on mute, so they can't hear me crying.
Let's then head into our store sales for this week. Sans, what's on sale this week?
Well, brought to you with the help of the dogs, this week you can stand out from the crowd. Get 25% off select shared wardrobe, select cosmetic outfit slots, mounted combat trait spec, cosmetic slots, presumably also for mounted combat, and select cosmetics through March 16th. And you can get a free 100% crafting XP boost with the coupon code CRAFTXP. That's CRAFTXP. And that is also good through March 16th.
Thank you, Sans. And now, I'd like to just mention again, this is our 500th episode that we've had of LOTRO Players News, and I was wondering if anyone here has a story they'd like to share relating to the show or anything like that.
Well, I'd just like to say that 500 times in a row. So does that mean really Isn't that the definition of psychosis? Pine is that you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
I think I've long gone past expecting a different result. Though in this case, so considering how many times we've had hosts change during the course of it, then I have had different results depending on who the hosts are.
Fair enough.
Right?
You are our rock, Pine Leaf.
Rock.
He really is. I mean, he's the only original host that's still on the show.
We
Well,
didn't land
that's-
on Pine Leaf. Pine Leaf landed on us.
Yeah, I was doing some digging on YouTube and I found the very first episode was sometime in what, 2015, 2016-ish?
Oh, wow.
Is that correct? Do I have the right date?
That sounds right.
2016, I would have thought that would have been.
It may have been
I
before
thought
that.
it was before
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, because I would have thought it would have been around
But then there was the
2013,
LOTRO
yeah.
Academy before that. There were LOTRO
No,
Academy.
there was
Yeah.
Oh, Pine Leaf, what was the show?
Well, Casual Stroll to Mordor was.
Yeah, Casual Stroll.
Oh, wait, no, here we go. I found episode 1. There we go. December 9th, 2014.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Because Casual Stroll to Mordor had ended. And so Andang wanted to do something to pick up the... Because yes, Academy was a thing, but...
But for the
it
regular
didn't
news
really
show.
cover news. Academy never really covered news.
No. But it was very useful when I was starting out. I went back, even though it was several years old by the time I started playing. It was
A
very
lot of
useful
those
listening
episodes
to
are
you
so
guys.
relevant. Yeah.
Oh, I agree. It was really, really helpful.
Yes, so that's the. Yeah, LOTRO Academy with its emphasis on trying to focus on something and trying to learn a particular area or to review certain zones and all the like. And then,
The
of course,
sorry.
continue.
No, I was just going to say the Sandswinda Asks episodes particularly struck me as useful and also hilarious.
Mhm.
Thank you guys for entertaining my desire to learn as much as I could about MMOs on LOTRO.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Because Sandswinda came onto Academy when she was really, really new to the game.
Yeah, to MMOs in general and to LOTRO.
So, Sans, you're basically saying that at one point you weren't a nerd, and then you turned into a nerd. Would that be a correct assessment?
That could be, yeah.
Okay, I thought she went into the game one. It's just that she didn't get into that.
Yeah, I
section
mean,
already.
Sans was always a nerd. She was just a different kind of nerd.
I kind of think the nerddom just changed a little bit, yeah.
Yes,
It broadened.
Broadened.
broad.
So, would you guys think that there's as many different types of nerds as there are types of goo and filth in Lord of the Rings online?
At least. At least.
So these are the intriguing nerds.
I like the
I
filthy
would like
nerds
to be
myself.
an intriguing one. Hey, that error was in there a long time.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Yes. Casual Stroll to Mordor. I remember that one. That one went 200 episodes, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Yeah, there were 200 episodes of A Casual Stroll to Mordor with the American Golden Star. And in fact, I think that's where I first heard about Weatherstock and about Landreval, and it was probably one of the episodes of then that taught me about Weatherstock. So I started making characters on Landreval so that I could attend Weatherstock.
That's interesting. Did you guys all? Did anybody start on Landreval, or did you guys start on
I
other
did.
servers and come here?
I did.
Okay.
I think I started on Landerwall. Yeah, it was
Yeah, but-
Landerwall, because Mythgard got me
Yeah.
into LOTRO.
Oh, Mythgard got you into LOTRO. Okay.
Yeah. I discovered
Yep.
the Tolkien Professor when I was looking for more Lord of the Rings content. And was playing Minecraft while listening to his podcasts. And then started following Grifflet. I was like, this actually looks fun. And that's how I got into it.
With Grifflet? Grifflet's been out that long?
Yes.
I would have thought
Yeah.
it would have been Wiggins that we might.
I might have seen Wiggins too, but I think it was the process of rolling Grifflet that I was like, I
Oh.
could do that.
Oh, okay, the process of rolling Grifflet. So that says about the timeline when you started playing then.
I think probably, yeah.
Yes, and now Grifflet has finally reached Minas Tirith.
Oh, really?
Yep.
That's pretty
Nice.
impressive.
Yes, especially considering that Grifflet gets played once a week for a couple hours.
And a lot of that time is spent looking at tapestries and walls and ceilings and
Evil
stones.
upholstery. Don't forget the evil upholstery.
Evil upholstery. Thinking about possible evil upholsterers. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Or fishmongers.
or fishmongers, yes, of course.
I love thinking about that as a factor in your ordering decision. Yeah, I want to get these drapes, but do they come in evil?
I think I'd like these drapes, but with a little bit more evil, actually.
The ambiance in the room just needs to be brought down more by the evil in the drape.
Oh, yes. Oh, I could just imagine. Oh, could we have a artifact from one of the ring rays to tie it all together?
That would be awesome.
I mean, there is a room of evil in Minas Tirith, so
Is that where they sell the haggis and the kimchi?
no, it's actually a room full of like evil trophies.
It's kind of disconcerting when you first walk into it, and you're like, wait a second, why do they have this here?
It's like, why is this here? This should not be. This is a terrible idea to have this where like normal people are supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah, that is true.
I mean, in all fairness, usually there are gates closing it. You can open them very easily, but it kind of has the idea of you have to give like a slip to the lore masters, and they approve whether you get to go in and spend time in that collection or not.
That sounds suspiciously like the adult room we used to have at the video store I worked at. So
Oh no.
It's a metal gate, not a beaded curtain.
I'm trying to fit my head around the fact that because I this is not bragging, by the way, but I started the first week the game came out, and to just think about playing one game for 14 years it's just weird to fit your head around that. So
Sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean because I started maybe 2 months after you did. So.
yeah, and if anybody's bragging about when they started, I always love the people that went, well, I played beta, so I always come back and say, I played such an early version of this game that it was real.
That's awesome.
Such an early version of it that we had to send it by post. Yes.
That's Do you understand how long it takes a character to move 10 feet? We have to mail in every single move.
Right. Yeah. So, right. So we started, you said December 2014, you said?
Yes, or at least that's when on the Players Alliance YouTube channel. Shameless plug, by the way. LOTRO Players News episode 1 was uploaded.
Okay, that was episode 1 back in 2014. Then we had Casual Stroll to Mordor was about 4 years. That was probably started about 2010 or something like that. So that is going a ways back then. I wonder if there were any podcasts before that, considering that there were, because the game started in 2007, 2008.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't. I don't necessarily know that would have been true because I don't think that was a really big thing at that point. I mean, it just kills me to think about when in EverQuest, when you're raiding, you were typing the entire time. You weren't talking to people. You were typing it out in chat, and to see how absolutely liberating voice chat was to coordination and tactics and everything. But yeah, I don't think that was a thing back then when it first came out. I can't remember what the technology was back then anymore. It's weird looking at movies from then, and the cell phones are like a brick, and you're like.
Well, you did have I suspect that the Topkins probably had vent servers because Ventrilo was around by that time.
There was something before Ventrilo, though, wasn't there? Maybe not. I think you're right. I think Ventrilo was really the first one we got.
Well, that's the first one I heard of, which could be a very different thing from the first one that existed.
That's true.
There's a major difference between the first one you've heard of and the first.
TeamSpeak?
Yeah,
see, that's what I want to. That's kind of what I want to say, but I can't remember because we moved to TeamSpeak.
Xfire was also mentioned.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, makes me wonder about how many when DDO Cast first started, which is for the other game, and they had 697 episodes that they have had over the years. That was the first one. By that was way back when the host was Cordovan.
Wow.
Yeah, he did it, I think, until he started working for Turbines, and he wasn't allowed to do an independent podcast anymore. Right. Anyone else have anything they wish to say regarding 500 episodes?
Well, I would just first of all like to say it's really good to see Terry and Guare and Rendis back. It's awesome seeing everybody in the show, and thank you guys so much for the invitation to join you as well. My favorite personal memory is when my brain short-circuited and I came up with the idea of foot coats and the Balrog bites because that was just so much fun. So
Oh yeah.
I need to do something. I need to do something else now. So I got to figure it out.
Oh yes. Well, I think still the weirdest one that they had of someone coming up with an idea was when one of our hosts would come up with these fake advertisements for occasionally during episode.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the fake ads.
Yeah. Love the fake ads in there. And then one day when he was giving one of them the Pine Leaf Countdown, and someone thought, maybe I'll create this.
Yeah, there is a real Pine Leaf Countdown.
And it's
Yes.
still pretty funny. Especially if you let it count up afterwards, and then Penny gets more and more frustrated at you. And at some point, he'll say something like, why do I even bother? And it totally
way.
echoed how I was feeling as I was trying to finish a homework assignment. It was great.
That's awesome.
Any other memories?
I have no memory of this place.
You have no memory of this place. Ah. We'll need to freshen up our memories a little bit or something. Then how about we head on to what our week in gaming was like, and maybe someone will pop up with another idea after we do it. Krister, what were you up to?
Red Maid, send us over Dennis Quaid. We ran Red Maid several times last night. It was really enjoyable. But we've developed a bizarre attitude in the kin that we need to defeat, which is that we defeat ourselves before we even try to talk ourselves out. Oh, we're never going to be able to do red mate on T2. Well, we actually managed to 5-man the T2 with pretty much no problems. So we've got to restore the lack of confidence that's currently infecting us. And we were talking earlier. You guys were talking earlier about that wealth of your dramatic defeat with the gold. Did you guys ever? It was out of Moria somewhere where you could get a drum off one of the mobs, and then did you guys ever?
It's in the Great Stair.
Yeah. Did you ever see the drum glitch that you could do?
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
That's used on purpose at the Pony and in concerts sometimes.
Oh, it's so much fun.
You start you faint and then you start doing that drum.
Yep.
And
or there's several other emotes too that work with it, and that was the funniest thing is you could tell which characters never had seen it before because people turn to you in horror. Is this a medical emergency? What's going on right now?
It basically double times it if you faint and then start the drum for that, and it's Great Stair.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, one of our kinnies knew how to do this. There's a little trick where you could get like infinite drums too. So everybody got equipped with drums and
yeah.
Okay, don't say it on the air because we don't want them to fix that, but you'll have to share that later.
Well, you can pick them up in general until they're all gone. So
that might have been it too. That might have just been.
Well, it's just there. I think there's usually 3 in that room, and yeah, you can right click and keep them, and then they get handed out. Sometimes people have extras, and they'll teach you how to play the drums, and you get a drum, an encore drum. That's what they're used for. Is people start drumming when they want the band to play a few more songs.
The other funny one, I can't even remember how somebody just came across it randomly. So it was like this helmet glitch where you put the helmet on, and then the helmet's floating about 4 feet to your right in the air, and you're bald. It was a pretty awesome glitch.
Okay.
I'm very sad that the one instance of the glitched pants will not be seen in Middle-earth anymore since Chromite passed. But he still had the pants on that disappeared.
Yeah, and you mean the ones that were entirely invisible, right? So
yes,
it just looks like
yes. So he'd had 2 glowing files from the Rimmercant raid and nothing from the waist down.
I just love that because nobody's expecting that when they walk around the corner
and
game,
and a goblin mask dyed black. Yeah, it was a look.
Yeah, those goblin masks ain't pretty.
No.
All right, and so in Elder Scrolls Online, I'm having a delightful time running around and tanking the vents. It allows me to tank, and I love tanking, and nobody else typically is tanking, so I can tank. And then I think other people are starting to figure out that, yeah, it's really cool when you can hold the boss in one place and keep them pointed away from everybody. So hopefully I'm inspiring more tanking out there. And then I connected with some of my old gaming buddies. These are guys when I was a teenager. We literally had a summer where we just played role-playing games all summer. So they had just gotten Deep Rock Galactic, and so we were playing that. And playing a insulting drunken space dwarf is a lot of fun, it turns out. So that was a blast. Had a really fun week. Had norovirus the week before, so this last week was much more enjoyable than that. And Guare, what did you get up to?
Well, I'll start out with tweaking Krister. Hey, Krister, are you still banned in Harwick?
You know what? When I saw your first bullet point, I was laughing because I was like, yeah. Brag to me about it. Yeah, I'm still banned in Harwick. Yeah,
Isn't this why Balrog Bites is like just outside to like?
I can't believe that they banned me from selling that.
He's trying to take advantage of those poor refugees for Blangfold. It's like they don't have any money. They can't go in Hardwick. I'm going to take advantage of these poor people. Shame, shame, shame. Now, my Hobbit Hunter got banned from Harwick and welcomed back all in the same day. And she'd also achieved the status of having a danger pony before that. Yeah, Suicide Pony for the win. Managed to do a war band, just me and a Hobbit minstrel who'd never had a minstrel on a war steed before, and we stayed alive. So there's that. It was the one down by the warg area to the south of Harwick there. So that was kind of fun. Meanwhile, it's like I'm having a hard time thinking about taking my minstrel into Southern Mirkwood when I haven't managed to get my guardian out of it yet. Yeah. I wish there was something else to fill that gap. I really, really wish. Hey, SSG, could you give us something for that level there after Lothlorien before we start everything else? I don't know. I'm thinking about like seeing if we can just go over and start doing Dunland and
What? Yeah, but isn't
doing
Enid
it.
White that level
Eh.
site? You don't care about Enid White.
Yeah, but the epic takes you through, and I hate to anyway. That's the thing I don't like is there's no good path without leaving the epic behind. And we finally figured out which pit I hadn't jumped into in Moria on my Girlsburg, but I think Sans is going to talk more about that, so I'll just leave it at that. That was nice though to get the Blind Leaper title. In ESO, I have yet another character who's now level 5160. Only 5 more to go for now. And also did some shenanigans with friends. I haven't been on for a few weeks, so I will say that it was fun running with Luanori, and I met up with Krister and Rudd and Runt from Ploy over in ESO and had fun running about playing with world bosses and getting into other trouble. And that was a lot of fun. And then Sans and Louie and I did some world bosses and dungeons, other shenanigans just this past week too. That was fun. Sans, what did you get up to?
Well, I blindly leapt off many ledges in Moria, looking for the title. And I guess I had my eyes open. I leapt knowingly off many ledges. And I noticed the new safety features in the Chamber of the Crossroads. I went to my milestone there and went to ride straight down the stairs into the well, and you cannot do that anymore. So I was, partially impressed that they came up with some new safety features, and partially annoyed that I had to go around it to jump down the well. But the well still works, and is still perfectly jumpable. But, yeah, that was kind of disconcerting to not just be able to fly down there and into the well immediately. So, might have to rethink that and, always arrive by Stablemaster or something so that the path is not impeded. No, I probably won't be that crazy about it. And it does look pretty cool. And then in ESO, I defeated some public dungeon bosses with Brundis and Lunori, and that was a lot of fun. And then I survived my first encounter with the Brainy Baboon in Dragon Quest Builders 2 on the computer. Granted, the Brainy Baboon wasn't actually attacking me itself, but that first encounter is still a little bit jarring, and the fight got interrupted twice, but thanks to awesome pause features of not online gaming, it worked out nicely. So that was pretty much my week. How was your week, Pineleaf?
I will begin with my low-level lore master, who reached Rivendell and is now questing in the Troll Shawls. So I'm trying to get up to a level where I can start on the Troll Shawls epic and start looking for the missing Nazgul. And my lore master headed over to Martin, where I did some firefighting and examined some horses. And then on Friday Night Fight, we ran a couple of Tier 2 skirmishes. We started out with assault on Ringwraith's lair to test the waters at Tier 2. Then after that, we ran Attack at Dawn. And the trouble that happened in Attack at Dawn is that when you came to the checkpoint, to the first one where you had the comment after you had those two gates that you had to open, and you get past there, and you have the first control point where you have to deal with the boulders falling down. We had a winter squall come out. And those squalls, as you could just imagine, at Tier 2, just wiped out the party. I have nothing to do. Let's just wipe out the party. And I think we had 3 or 4 times where we completely wiped from, because when it came down to the explosion point, boom, we were all dead. And apparently, eventually, though, it was to a point where someone must have lasted just long enough so that the thing decided to commit suicide or something, because eventually it died through not much effort of ours. So we were able to finish the skirmish after that, because it was only the squall was the only real problem that we had in there. But after that, for our third skirmish, we decided to bring it down to Tier 1 so that we could finish up on a good note. And that concludes my week in LOTRO. But before we close, I was wondering if anyone else had anything else that they wished to add.
I do have something that I was able to find via a couple minutes of Googling.
Okay.
So at least for me, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but for me, it's kind of hard to visualize, what was 2014? What was the year 2014 like? And so I went through and double checked, and it's it it's been a minute since this podcast has been out. For context, so if we're going back to the first episode was in December of 2014. That was the year that the iPhone 6 came out. I'm gonna let that sink in. The iPhone 6. And the Apple Watch was, as a concept, unveiled for the first time. Does anyone remember the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge that took over
Yes.
the internet?
Oh, yeah.
That was when that was happening. Let's see what else. Frozen came out in 2013, but we were all still singing the song and getting it stuck in our heads in 2014. Let's see. A couple of the big movies that came out in 2014, Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Big Hero 6, the Lego movie, and Captain America the Winter Soldier. And I'm trying to see what else. Does anyone remember Pharrell's song Happy that seemed to be playing on every radio
yeah.
station?
Oh my God, yes.
That was 2014 as well. So there you go. Now we have some context, at least a little bit, for how long it's been since the podcast has been going on.
What's sad is it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but it is.
No, I agree. It feels like time has flown. But I
Yeah.
appreciate all of you for letting us come back on and visit with you guys for episode 500. And you guys should be extremely proud of hitting episode 500. I mean, not many people can say that, and not many podcasts have been around for that long. So a huge kudos to you guys and for the people running it behind the scenes. Well done, everybody.
And also, Stone Games for having a game that apparently has 2 games, actually, because we also had the other game, DDO, and each of them has a podcast that's lasted at least 500 episodes.
That's very true.
So thank you, Stone Games, because this podcast obviously would not be possible if it weren't for you, plus, of course, your predecessor, Turbine, who originally produced the game.
Yeah, thanks so much for giving us Middle Earth in an internet, online game format. It's incredible coming back to even at this point.
Okay. And I found out that YouTube date is not the date of the first episode.
It's not.
No, the date of the first episode is June 29th, 2013.
Well, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So even 2013. So then, in other words, the year that Frozen came out. So yes, that is right there. First one where we were discussing Helm's Deep in there about levels and zones and the epic story. So we started out with Helm's Deep. And all sorts of things that happened in there. And that was pretty closely following to the heels of episode 200 of A Casual Stroll to Mordor. LOTRO Players News currently has 13 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO Players, you go to the donations page. You can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. If you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@lotrplayers.com. And the Players Alliance has 2 shows each week on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. US Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, though more accurately, it is recorded when Drac is available. And LOTRO Players News is recorded on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. US Eastern Time each week. But please note that tonight, the United States is moving their clocks forward an hour. So if you live outside of the United States and Canada, there is a possibility that the show will be shifted from about an hour from the times that we just gave. Once you adjust
And of
your
course,
time
you're going to get a nice, restful night's sleep as well. So,
all right.
not that I'm bitter.
You can join us for our shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pound Meals for the 500th time, reminding you to skirmish responsibly.